Welcome to the show, everybody. We have a special guest with us here today, and I'm gonna give you a chance to introduce yourself to the audience first.
Hi, I'm Ann Myrna, and I am producer and first AD for a new film that's coming out before the end of the year called It Came From Somewhere.
Thank you for that. So this is based on like a 1950s film. Do you know where S.J. Herman got the idea for it?
Yes, so S.J. Herman is kind of the leader at Acristar Films, and he loves horror films and is kind of a historian buff with horror films. So he likes to watch Mystery Science Theater 3000, and he was watching it one night, and I think he was watching Teenagers from Outer Space, and just started thinking, wouldn't it be fun to make a movie as if it was made in the 1950s, but make it today? And write an original story and film it and release it in black and white with a 4:3 aspect ratio, just like they did back in the day. So he asked some actors that he had worked with previously, myself included, if we'd be interested in that kind of project. And we were all like, yes, it sounds awesome. When do we start? So that's kind of how the whole thing began.
That is awesome. So for the shows that you had just referenced that he had got this idea from, for the younger generation, you mind explaining them shows?
Sure. So back in the 50s, there were two filmmakers in particular that were kind of fashioning this after. One was named Roger Corman, and the other was named Ed Wood. And they created low budget sci fi creature feature horror films. And when I say low budget, I mean things like, like rather than constructing a wall to use as a set piece behind the actor, they strung up a shower curtain with wrinkles in it and everything. There were some technical errors in the film. Sometimes you would see the boom mic in the shot. Sometimes out of frame and you'd hear a noise like he was being hit by a car, but you would still
Oh, and we're experiencing some difficulties on my.
also
Oh, there we go. Oh,
time telling right as the action was happening. So even though you can see it on the screen, you still have a narrator telling you things, and they would speak, like very formally and very long sentences, and kind of twisting their words a little bit. So it was a little unclear what they were saying, but that was just kind of the writing style at the time. So what SJ did was write an original story but keep those characteristics of 1950s films in mind. So ours will look like it was made in the 50s and follow all that style, including the acting style, because back then most of the actors were stage actors and they went big, even if they were on camera. So like huge facial expressions. When the women would scream, it would always be hands to the face, ah, kind of thing. Whereas we, as on camera actor today, like you would never go that big. I mean, you're supposed to go really small for the camera.
right. All right. So before we get any farther, I'm going to play the trailer for it from somewhere for you all to get a good look at this.
Greetings, my friends. What you are about to witness is true. The names and places have been changed to protect those who witnessed the harm that happened. So, therefore, I must ask you, my friends, can you handle the truth? Can you handle the unbelievable things that you are about to see before your eyes?
So the dramatic kills me. I love it so much. The over dramatic, especially when they was running through the field. She did the yes, that's over dramatic. I love it. I'm mostly excited to see what is this creature or what it is that they're running from. I'm picturing in my head there's like this 10 foot tall like monster type thing that's going on. I don't know, but I'm kind of excited for this. So um, when are you guys are expecting? So I know you guys are expecting to film. How long do you think it's going to take you guys to finish the film?
Um, we are going to start filming on September 8th, and we have 4 days allocated. This is going to be a feature-length film, so about 70 minutes running time. And normally you would think, oh, these people must be insane. You cannot film that much in that small amount of time. But sticking with the 1950s style, their shots were different than how we shoot today. So today, if there's dialogue between three people on camera, they shoot from each person's point of view. So you run you're filming the scene over and over and over again. They didn't do that much in the 50s. They did a lot of, just wider shots where you would catch both actors, maybe a little over the shoulder shot every now and then. So we're hoping, and the scenes are short, like 1 or 2 takes per scene. We'll have to see once we start rolling. And then, in terms of things like special effects, it's not what you see in films today. So, the story is still going to have a scary element to it because it is a creature feature. But I don't think today's audience will be frightened by our creature because we've seen such sophisticated stuff with CGI and, all kinds of special effects that we can do with the computer. And we're not having any of that. I mean, we've got a large dude in a costume. He's still going to be creature-esque and he will have trouble communicating with the humans. We have aliens as well. So the overall story is that a spaceship has crash landed on the Earth. And inside that spaceship, there were 2 aliens and a creature that they were transporting for some nefarious purpose. And so the aliens get out of the ship and some teenagers come to explore the ship and the aliens make them go look for the creature. And in the meantime, the creature is killing people. The aliens are killing people. I won't say who lives or dies, but the violence is so tame compared to today's standards.
So, with this film, with the cast, who would you say act most like their character?
You mean like in real life, who's most like their character?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of hard to say because, so SJ is a writer. He is a very good storyteller, and he knew who from his prior films wanted to be involved in this one. So he kind of wrote the characters for the cast that he had in mind. And then there were a few extra people that needed to be cast. My character, I'm like the oldest one, somebody's got to be the oldest, so it's me. I'm playing the grandmother, but there are no parents, so I'm taking care of my 2 grandchildren and working with them as a grandmother in a nurturing way. And then I'm also their parent in a more firm way to make sure that they obey the rules of the house type of thing. And I guess in real life, I'm that way too. One of the aliens, there's a female alien and a male alien. The female is kind of bossy and stuff. And she's played characters like that before, but this is in an alien way. And then the guy who's the alien is like Mr. Laid Back, and his alien character is a little bit laid back too. So yeah, it's kind of interesting the parallels between real life and then the characters.
That is awesome. For those who are watching live, if you do have questions, please send them in. So a little about you. So I read up that you have been doing a lot of stuff. You've done voice acting, you've done commercials, you've done theater. There's a lot of stuff under your belt that you've done. So what is the one thing that you enjoy doing the most out of all those things?
I really like working on the independent films. Theater is kind of a different beast. So just a little bit about my background. I was in plays in high school, and then I worked in information technology for over 40 years. And then at the age of 58, I started making a bucket list because my friends had bucket lists. And the first thing I put on my bucket list was I wanted to be on Chicago PD because they film that in Chicago where I live. And so I figured out how to be a background actor, figured out how to submit to the show, got booked the first time I submitted. And again, that's not really acting, but it kind of gave me a taste of what on-camera acting was about. And so I took classes and got some agents and, just kind of started networking and expanded from there. So with the independent film community, there's just so much passion that goes into all the projects. Usually the ideas are original, and people are doing this because they want to do this. They want to provide entertainment. They want to give people a way to escape from day-to-day life. And when you look at some of those network TV shows and the way they're run when you're on set, people are there to do a job kind of thing. And I mean, it's relatively efficient, and the products are very well received and everything, but you just don't get that personal passion that you see with the indie film community. So I would say that like aspect of the acting work that I've done is my favorite for sure.
I've been noticing about the indie film community that I've been enjoying a lot of the indie films more than the big budget films. So I'm starting to appreciate more of the indie film aspect of everything. So one of the questions that I was told to ask was what because we know that you guys booked the filming location. So what is your favorite filming location?
For what we have coming up for It Came From Somewhere?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have 100% approval on the timing of this yet, but we are going to film part of it in a very small town in central Illinois on their like main street, because it has not been modernized much, and I mean, it kind of looks like it's still in the 1950s. And when I talked to the city manager there, so my role as producer and first AD is to also help with the locations. So I talked to the city manager there, and she's like, oh, we love to have people film here. And S.J. Herman has actually filmed in this town before last summer, and they had such a good experience with him. They're like, oh yeah, come on back, let us know how many blocks we need to block off of the street for you, and we'll get, police to make sure that people don't go on set if, they're not needed and stuff like that. So, we're being welcomed with really warm arms, and we're going to try to get some vintage vehicles placed on the street as well. I'm in contact with a local car show company that like puts on vintage car shows, and so we're hoping we can do that as well to really as authentically as we can have everything in the background, at least not looking modern. Like if we can't get the right era of cars, then maybe we won't have any cars, but at least we won't have like a 1998 cars out there, we're going to have at least, as close as we can get. And we're doing the same with props as well. There's a guy I've been in contact with. So we have a little scene where the teenagers are dancing, and we wanted to show a radio in the background, because if they were gathering, they would have their maybe transistor radio or whatever. And so I found a guy who actually repairs and sells old vintage radios, but he's got all these spare parts. So he's going to like give me something. It doesn't have to work because we'll put the sound in post, but he's going to, give me something at a really low budget, dollar value that will look so cool and would be a little larger. And like, we don't have to use an itty bitty transistor radio that they had back in the day. We have something, like a little more sizable, so you can see the dials and stuff on it.
Right.
And even for like some of the alien control panels, when they're communicating with their, leader in space, we're making that prop. And so it's not going to be like super high tech, and that, we spent maybe $20 on it because we are trying to keep as low a budget as possible.
Oh, that sounds cool. I was actually going to ask about that. So how do you like try to maintain your budget or try to stay at least under the budget? Because I know there are a lot of like when you're making a film, do you plan for like mess ups or something like that, or for something going wrong? Do they plan for that in the budget, or like how does that work for the people who are willing to get into the film industry?
Yeah, I mean, when we put together our initial numbers, we have some contingency in there, and even just running the fundraising campaign on Indiegogo, they take about 10%. So, that's 10% that we're not going to see. They also, Indiegogo doesn't pay you right away. Like if somebody makes a contribution, you don't get that money right away. You get that money a couple weeks after your campaign ends. So we just extended our campaign because we were running kind of low on the contributions. but we're not going to get any of that money until later. So we just kind of plan our expenditures and see, you know, whose credit card can float the cost of things like props. We actually don't really have much fees in terms of location fees. We are shooting some interior scenes at an Airbnb that we're renting. So that's really that, and some money for the cast is our main areas of expense.
Okay. So sorry, SJ is like relatively new to like independent filmmaking, is what I saw. So, what made him like just dive into it? Because from what I seen with some of the stuff that I seen, he's pretty good at what he learned in such a short amount of time. So, what do
Mhm.
you think? What drove him to to get into independent films, or what what was like his motivation for to keep going and not knowing how this was going to turn out? What would you think he would say?
So S.J. Herman is an independent author first. So he's written, I think, 8 books over the last 9 years or so, and he has his books out on Amazon. If you search for S.J. Herman, and it's Hermann, you can see all the books that he's written, and you can download them and read them on Kindle. Oh, speak of the devil, he just popped on. So
Hello, how are you?
I, I'm explaining what motivated you to be a filmmaker. So far, I'll let you take over. But so far, I've said that you've written about 8 books over the past several years, and you have everything on Amazon. I'll let you explain how you then went into filmmaking.
Well, I started filmmaking as a dream of every self-published author is to see their books come alive into a film. And that's very difficult to do when you're a self-published author. So I took it upon myself to learn the trades, and I self-taught myself for over 2 years how to make films. And from there, I made my first film off of a short story I wrote, In the Dark. And from that, the rest is history.
What's that first one? Based off I believe it was mental health.
Yeah, In the Dark is based off a short story I kind of wrote, and I adapted it for mental health issues.
Okay.
Somebody who suffers from several phobias, depression, and anxiety. And it kind of takes place kind of during a zombie outbreak as well, I don't want to give too much away, but she sees herself as she thinks other people see her as she goes through her mental illness.
Okay. So SJ, now that I have you here, one of the questions I want to ask you: how do you bring your scripts to life?
Uh, well, I basically start with the premise, obviously, and I base them off my books, some of them, not all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I take the premise and see what I'll be able to work with as far as budget. And then I adapt it the best I can to fit the budget, and I go from there. I mean, sometimes I really have to scale stuff down
Mm-hmm.
because in books you can really go extravagant and go all over the place. But when
Yeah.
you're low budget, you really got to cut it down. So that's the starting point right there.
Okay. So for it came from somewhere. What was because Ann talked about it earlier with the TV show that you had watched. So what was the biggest thing that I love this with what was the name? I forgot the name of the name show this already, and I had it in my notes and I can't find it.
Mystery Science Theater
Yes.
3000.
Yes.
I was just watching it with teenagers from outer space, and it's campy, it's corny, and it's not that bad of a movie, but it's like, wow, wouldn't it be cool to actually film something like this? A campy B sci-fi creature feature film,
Hmm.
and shoot it like we were actually shooting it in the 50s. And I contacted the cast I had worked with Tripidity,
Hmm.
and they were all like, "Yeah, let's do it. We got to do it." It's like, all right. And I started writing the script, and it's hard writing. When you're a writer, you get used to writing a certain style. But when you got to write really bad or convoluted dialogue, that's the hard part because your writer brain wants to go, "Oh, that's too bad. I got to change that," but you can't because you got to keep with the times. Like the 50s when, the dialogue was and
I was going to ask about that. So for writing dialogue, uh, is it very hard for you to write dialogue, or do it come easy for you? Because I've tried my finger at it, and it's extremely difficult for me to do.
well, actually what I do, I'll write it down. I'll write out a scene with dialogue, and then I'll actually read it out loud. So I'll basically have a conversation with myself and see
Oh,
how it sounds.
oh, I didn't think about it that way. I might have to try that. So, when people see this film, what is the takeaway that you want people to have after seeing this film?
Uh, that it's unique, that you haven't seen anything like this in the indie film community yet, and really just respect filmmaking back in the 50s. They didn't have all the high tech special effects that we do now. It was all practical effects, and they had to use what they had available.
Hmm.
Sometimes with mixed results. Take Edward, for example. But it's just they're corny and bad, but yet there's just something special about them that makes them stand out. And that's what I want to recreate. And that's what I want to show people. Hey, you know what? These films do have a place in movie history, no matter how bad or how terrible they are. They do have
Hmm.
a place in film history.
All right. So you currently right now have another slasher horror film that's making its way around the scene. You mind explaining to the people about that
Yes,
before
that's
we play the
Trepidity.
trailer? Yep.
Yeah, that's Trepidity. And that's based off one of my short stories I wrote for a horror anthology, I'm going to say 5 years ago. And it's basically five girls go to a bar to party it up. And they hear about one girl hears about a legend, an urban legend of the Satan servants. So they call upon it thinking it's just an urban legend, but actually it's not. So what happens when they call upon this demon, it jumps from body to body, killing each other, killing, the other girls. And after it kills, it bounces to a next body, to another body,
Hmm.
and kills. And they have to survive until midnight. If they can survive until midnight, they make it. If not, they're dead.
Alrighty. Let's play the trailer for that right now.
All right.
All right, ladies, here we are. Welcome to our personal party barn.
Do you realize how many horror movies start with a bunch of girls drinking in the middle of the woods?
Ladies, what is with the lack of enthusiasm?
Let's go check out the creepy murder barn.
Hmm.
Find anything cool?
There's words written on the wall in blood.
Scary setting calls for a scary story.
Not gonna be too scary, is it?
Legend says the demon has until midnight to collect as many souls as it can before having to go back to hell. We offer our bodies as sacrifice. Come, thy loyal servant.
What was that?
Party's over. You bitches win.
On the contrary, the party's just beginning. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, no one to trust.
Please. I don't want to die.
Wow. All I can say is wow. My one of the other cast members on the show, Tina Marie, she loves horror films. I definitely gotta get her to. I gotta get a hold of this so she can watch this. So for the people who do want to see your material, how do they find your material?
Uh, I have a YouTube channel called Acrostar Films, ACROSTAR Films, and that's on YouTube. And my
So
books are on Amazon.
okay. So the trailer that we just watched right here. Um, all I can say is first, wow, and
Thank you.
second, wait, because it was spot on with everything like 1980s, like what you said, the 1980s Killer Barn. Loved it.
Thank you. Yeah, that was fun. That was some fun. We actually filmed that over 3 days.
What, 3 days?
Yeah, 3 nights actually.
You are efficient.
Well, when you got a good cast, and crew, it makes everything move a lot better. And I have been blessed to have worked with some amazing people.
I'm so blown away right now. Actually, where are you based out of? So if anybody like wants to get in contact with you or interested in working with you, how can they get in contact with you, and where are you based out of?
I'm kind of based out of 2 places, Illinois and Texas. I'm in Texas right now, but I also film up in Illinois. That's kind of like where everybody I know, all the actors in that are. So I really kind of film up in Illinois, kind of like the Chicagoland area.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're not too far from where I am. That's
Oh.
awesome. Yeah, I live about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours from Chicago.
Oh, yeah, I'm about, when I'm home, I'm about 40 minutes away, maybe, depending on traffic, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that Chicago traffic. They can keep the traffic. So you guys have the Indiegogo going. So do you want to let the audience know, like, why, if they're interested, why should they invest in your film, and what kind of things they can get in return for investing in your film?
And I'll let you take this one.
Okay. So yeah, we have campaigns still going for both It Came From Somewhere and for Trepidity. For It Came From Somewhere, that's still like our initial campaign that's going on, and you can just type in itcamefromsomewhere.com, and that will redirect to that Indiegogo page. And then once you're there, it will show toward the top of the page. It says that S.J. Herman is running the campaign, and if you click on the link under his name, then you can see the Trepidity campaign as well. So for It Came From Somewhere, what we've got left, since we're really close to filming, is several different types of credits that you could get. A lot of people, when they contribute to independent film campaigns, they like to get credit on IMDb. So it can be from special thanks all the way to executive producer credit. There are various levels that are available. And then you also get credit in the film. The nice thing about getting credit in a 1950s style film is that a lot of the credits play before the actual movie starts. So you don't have to wait until the very end to see your name on the big screen. And then for Trepidity, really what we have left is that you can get a digital download of the movie for $15. We're also looking into some streaming platforms for it. And Trepidity runs about 40 minutes, and It Came From Somewhere is going to be around 70 minutes long.
All right. Thank you both for joining me on this episode of the podcast. It was amazing to have you on. I'm excited to see the finish. I Came From Somewhere. I would definitely be contributing to the campaign, so I'm looking forward to this. Miss Caramel down at the bottom, do you have any questions for our guests?
No, I don't. The questions that I had were all answered. So I'm just waiting to see the
Awesome.
movie.
So SJ, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Make sure you guys go check out these projects. It's scrolling at the bottom. It's the links to the projects. So make sure you guys go and click on those links. Thank you, Ann and SJ, for
Thank you for having us.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much. Guys, have a good evening.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I just love having guests on. So as we get ready to head into final thoughts, I always got a TikTok clip for you guys. Um, so we're gonna play it, and then me and this heifer gonna talk about it.
I would like to have the power to just transport myself into my daughter's brain for a few seconds just to look around, because anything longer than a few seconds, you're going to need psychological help and medicine that the FDA hadn't even approved yet. Now, my baby starts the first grade on Wednesday. Over the past couple of weeks, she's been more and more nervous about it. And I'm thinking it's just because it's a new grade, she's a little unsure. No, my daughter walked up to me and she says, Daddy, do I treat the first day of first grade like my first day of prison and just take out the biggest one, say they know not to play with me? First of all, you little shit, no, you ain't never been to prison. That's not how it works. And two, you go into the classroom, you sit your butt down, and you don't speak until you're spoken to. This little girl gonna be like, do you not know who I am, Daddy? Yes, I know who you are. That's why I say you gotta sit down and not say nothing, because I don't know the response time for the SWAT team to the school yet. Give me a few days, just a few days.
So that is definitely probably SMA's experience going into her daughter's first grade year. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Well, well, not really. So Makai, she was excited to go to school when I first got her in school. She was like 4, so she was excited. She was like, "Oh wow!"
So these,
but I cried. I didn't want her to go.
So these kids out here thugging.
Please, nowadays, yes, the hell they is. They is thugging. They is thugging. I told you, this generation is the most toxic fucking generation ever.
All right, so I got 2 more clips for you guys that I cannot pass up. So here's another one of the clips.
When Trump gets arrested,
I'm gonna laugh my ass off and have a beer.
No, the hell you not.
We're experiencing some technical difficulties here. Let's retry that again.
When Trump gets arrested.
All right.
I'm gonna laugh my ass off and have.
Okay, yeah, that clip is just not working. I am sorry, y'all. So we're gonna head into the next one. It's cats wrong, y'all.
Yeah, they felt like, oh hell no, this thing you got to cover this up.
Right. So as we head into final thoughts, Heffa, what kind of final thoughts you got for the people?
Yeah, I don't never have no final thought. I need to be thinking about final thoughts, huh? This fucking noise out here ain't no better. Child, please. This noise out here ain't making it no better for my thought process.
Lord, my final thoughts is, y'all, reckless driving, be kind to one another, and don't forget to check us out this Saturday, 3 p.m. at Brewski's Sports Bar, located on Office 76 in Blue Mound. Come hang out with us. That's this Saturday at 3 p.m. at Brewski's Sports Bar. So with that being said, don't forget to head over to habits365.com and use code Anthony4 to receive 20% off your purchase. And don't forget to head over to repsports.com and use code Martin1 to receive 5% off your purchase. Don't forget to follow us on TikTok and Instagram, which is STD Podcast. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, which is Same Cast Different Day Podcast, along on YouTube, which is Same Cast Different Day Podcast. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that like this video pop up. And thank you all for tuning in to this episode. And we will see you all on the next one. 4 more episodes, 3 or 4 more episodes, season finale. So make sure y'all be tuning in for that.
Season finale gonna be fun. Mommy ain't gonna be on there with y'all.